Hello, in this video we are going to look at implementing a game over system. Because at the moment, if we play our tic-tac-toe game, in the previous video we implemented AI. So if we play it, place a piece here, AI places one in the middle, place one here, AI counters it, I'll be stupid and I'll post one here and the AI wins. But at the moment nothing happens after this animation, and that's the same for whether I win, lose or draw. But what we want to do is display a game over state, which will have sort of a semi-transparent background, which will sort of grey the objects out, and will have a menu bounce onto the screen. The menu will consist of two buttons, a home button and a retry button, and it's going to be the same for any game over state. You can customize it very easily. The code will be very extendable. We'll be using a separate UI class. So let's get down to it. So first of all, go to your definitions file, and there are a few definitions we need to create. So the first one is going to be a game over background file path. So hash define game underscore over underscore background, and this is going to be res / it's going to be pause background, because we are going to be using the same background as the pause menu, which we have not implemented yet, and we will be implementing in the next video. But the purpose of creating a separate hash define is that we can easily modify our game without having to go through anywhere we've used this background image. So next we're going to create a game over window, because this is just sort of that semi-transparent background. Now this is going to be sort of the background of the window that's going to bounce onto the screen using a nice cool animation, and that's going to be game underscore over underscore window, and this is going to be res / again pause window. You can change it to a different window image for your game over screen if you want to. And we need to add a few button definitions. So we need to add actually, you know what, I will just copy and paste this to save some time, and I'll change this to retry. This is also going to be retry. This is going to be retry.png. As usual, we're going to use the same file path for the retry pressed button, but you can easily change it if you have, let's say, a different image to appear when the button is pressed. This just provides a very extendable way of creating our game. Just need one more, and this is going to be the home button. So home button, we're going to have home button pressed. File path is home button.png, and then again it's home button.png. Actually, I'm missing something. There it is. It's meant to be retry button. My bad. All of these images were already provided when we set up our project earlier on in this series. And if we scroll down, we need to create a couple more hash defines just for the animation. So we're going to do hash define game underscore over underscore background underscore fade underscore in time, and this is just going to be how long it's going to take for the game over background to fade in. It's going to be half a second. I'm going to create a define for the menu bouncing duration. If you don't want a bounce effect and you want a fade effect or a slide effect, you can easily change the animation. Just go to our Sonar Cocos API guide, which is cocos.sonarlearning.co.uk. There will be a link provided, and that shows you with GIFs and videos the different animations and aspects of Cocos that you can easily use. For this, I'm going to put 1.5 seconds. Save that. Now what we need to do is actually create some new files. Like I said, we're going to have a separate UI system, and this is going to be a class. So if I show the classes in folder, I just like to duplicate an existing file, rename this ui.h, ui.cpp, just drag this onto my editor. If you're using Visual Studio, Eclipse, Android Studio, or whatever IDE you're using, just add it however you need to, and you'll be all good to go. So, included that, go to AI, it's going to get rid of all the contents, and in here, I'm going to put hash, pragma once, hash include Cocos2d-x, and now the class of UI. Gonna have a couple of public methods. The first being the constructor, and this is gonna take Cocos2d layer asterisk layer. We won't actually be doing anything in the constructor in this video. This is just setting it up so we can create it as a pointer and pass in variables in the next video for the pause system, because that will be part of the UI system as well. Next, we're going to have a method for showing the game over. Just want to say one thing, though in a lot of games, game over is usually considered the sort of losing state, the bad state. In this game, the game is always going to end. It's always going to be game over at some point. Even when you win, the game is over. When you lose, the game is over. Or when you draw, the game is also over. Hence why it's called game over and not like game win. But you could have separate methods very easily because we've got a state system in our game, so you can easily detect which particular state has occurred and then show a particular menu. And this is going to take a Cocos2d layer, and this will just allow us to draw to the current layer. Going to have a couple of private methods, and this is going to be void retry. This is going to be Cocos2d a ref, so this is going to be the original sender. I'm going to call it p sender. This is just a naming convention of Cocos2d-x. You can call it whatever you want to. And another one for go to main menu. So these will be called depending on which particular method is, which particular button is pressed. So go to ui.cpp, get rid of all the contents. So now in here, we need to include a few files. The first being ui.h. Next, we're going to include the Sonar frameworks file from the Sonar Cocos helper. .h, and this is just going to be allowing us to use the UI functionality for stuff like centering very easily. Hash include definitions.h, hash include game scene.h, hash include main menu scene.h. So first of all, let's create the constructor, which, like I said, will be empty. So Cocos2d layer asterisk layer. We'll be implementing this in the next method. You know what, it'd just be easier if I copy and paste these instead of typing them out myself. Copy and paste UI : and just put some nice curly braces. So now for the show game over, we are going to be creating a background and the menu system. First of all, we want to get the screen size because we need that for stuff like positioning. This is going to be equal to director : get instance, get visible size, and what we want to do is sprite asterisk background. This is going to be equal to sprite : create, and this is merely going to take the file path to our game over background like so. I'm going to set the position to background, set position, and this position will be sonar Cocos helper UI : get screen center. So we're just centering it in the screen. This is going to be that sort of semi-transparent grey background that will just sort of hide some of the game objects. Now we're going to set the opacity, set opacity to 0, and layer, add child, is background. And finally, we just need to run an action which will fade it in. So background, run action, and the run action is going to consist of a sequence. So the first action in the sequence is going to be a delay time, and the delay time is going to be created with a time of piece underscore fade in time times by 2.5, and then a fade in create, and the fade in is merely going to take the game over background fade in time. So let me explain why we're using a sequence and not directly doing the fade in. And the reason for this is the computer, or the actual phone, which is a computer really, the computer doesn't know about the animations in terms of we need to display the background after the animations have occurred. The computer will know the game state as soon as the piece has been placed, or it's decided to place the piece there, as soon as it's been placed in the array, but before the actual image has actually appeared. Because we've got animation, it takes a bit of time. So we want to allow that to appear, allow the actual, let's say, winning or the losing pieces to change, and as a result, this will allow us to see what is happening, give us some time to process it as the user, then show the background, and then show the menu as well, which we're going to be implementing in a second. If you want this to last a little longer, you just change this, aka if you want the actual game over to come a little while after the actual game has finished, you just change this value to increase it. So now we're going to create a menu item image. We're going to create our menu, which is going to consist of a menu item image, which is going to be the background, which is essentially that game over window, then two menu item sprites, which will be the home button and the retry button. So menu item image, and I'm going to call this overlay, not overlayer, overlay window item equals to menu item image create, and this is going to consist of a few different parameters. The first one is going to be game over window, and game over window again, game over window again. So this is for different states such as disabled state, regular state. We just want the same one for each individual state because we're not actually modifying the states. And in terms of any callback, we don't want this to call any method when it's pressed. So now we're going to do menu item sprite, no, actually not colon. This is going to be asterisk retry item equal menu item sprite create, and for the normal sprite we need a sprite colon create. For this it is going to be retry button. We can just copy and paste this for the selected sprite. We also need a disabled sprite so we can actually use the callback, otherwise we won't be able to use the callback. We need to specify the disabled sprite as well. And for the callback, instead of specifying null, we're going to do cc underscore callback 1, because remember the retry method has one parameter, and the selector is UI : retry. We're not passing any parameters in ourselves, that handles it itself. Target is, well, this. And that is it in terms of initializing the menu item sprite for the retry button. Now we can position it. So retry, you know what, I'm actually going to space this out a bit so it's easier just to see. Retry, not retry button, retry item, set position. And for this, it's going to consist of a vec2. First of all, we want to get the overlay window item, get the content size, and we're going to do divided by 4. The reason we are doing this is because by default, it will be centered in the actual item, in the overlay window item. And what we want to do is just position it slightly to the right, and we're just going to get a quarter. We've experimented with these values, so we know what values look good. If you want to change the positioning, if you want to use absolute values, feel free. I don't recommend using absolute values. I recommend using dynamic calculation like what we're doing here, but you can easily change this. And now we're going to set the Y position, and this is just going to be the retry item, get position Y. We're not modifying this, the center is a-okay. So this doesn't like something. Let's have a look if we have closed everything off by the looks of it. What does it not like? No matching constructor for initialization of Cocos2d vec2. The content size should be .width. My bad. We're just trying to pass in a vector then, which is obviously not good at all. Now we are going to create the main menu item. So if we copy and paste this to save some time, rename this to main menu item. Main menu item. We need the home button here. We could call it home item, whatever you want, it's your choice. This is obviously going to call the go to main menu method. We are setting the main menu position. Again, the position Y for main menu item. But for this, we aren't actually adding 4 to it, or we are taking away. So this will position it to the left of the center of the overlay window item in the x-axis. So now that we've got that, we can actually construct our menu. So menu asterisk menu equals menu : create, and in here we merely specify the items that we want to put in here. So overlay window item, retry item, and main menu item. This will display them in this particular order. So these 2 items will be on top of this one. So if we were to put this after retry item, this will be on top of that one. So that's just something to bear in mind. And we're just going to put null. This is just a parameter that it requires. And now we're going to set the position. And for this, we're going to do menu, set position. And for this, we're going to do vec2, sonar Cocos helper, UI : get screen center. And for the x value, we want .x, we want it centered in the x-axis. But for the y-axis, we want to do something slightly different. We want to get the screen center, but we're going to do .y plus screen size .height. You might be wondering, if we're doing that, will only appear off screen, because if that's the center and we're adding the height of the screen, it'll no longer be visible. And that is what we want, because we want an animation which will make the menu bounce onto the screen. like say if you want a fade in animation, you can easily do that using the code that we've got from here. Just adapt it to the menu, but we are going to do a bounce animation. So now we're going to do layer, add child, and for this it's going to be menu. The animation we're going to create is called ease bounce out. There's a whole heap of them. Feel free to check out our Cocos API guide at cocos.sonarlearning.co.uk. And as I said earlier on in this video, there will be a link provided, so feel free to check that out. I'm going to call it menu action easing equals ease bounce out colon create. And for this, we just need to specify where it's going to move to. So it's going to be move to colon create. First of all, specify the duration, which is menu underscore move bounce duration. And for the position, we just specify the center of the screen, which is Cocos helper UI colon get screen center. And now I'm going to create a sequence. We do love our sequences. This is going to be called menu show sequence equals sequence colon create. And the sequence, again, we need to do a delay time so the actual piece animation can completely finish and the user can see the result before the game over state is showed. It's going to be create, and this is going to be piece underscore fade in time by 2.5. Then the menu show sequence. Actually, that should be over here. And finally, we just need to run the action. So menu run action menu show sequence, and that's it for showing the game over. We just need to implement the retry and the go to main menu methods. These are very simple. We've already done this before, so we're actually going to go and get the code. So if we go to main menu.cpp, and if we just copy and paste this, for example, into here. So game scene, create scene, that's fine, because for the retry, we want to reload the current game scene. For the transition, we're using the same transition of fade. You can use a different transition if you want to, use a different transition time, but you're more than welcome to. We are replacing it, not popping any scene or pushing one on, because we don't want the current scene to exist anymore. And we're going to do the same for here. The only difference is it's going to be main menu scene. And that's it. We can now go into our game scene.cpp and just set this up. So the first thing we need to do is actually go to game scene.h and just include the UI header, create an instance of UI, save that in our game scene.cpp. We just need to construct it. So UI equals new UI colon UI. We just pass in the layer, which is this. And finally, we just need to go to the check win condition. So check win, keep scrolling down, check win. So after we have literally done everything, you can remove this C out if you want to. This was just for testing. We want to check if the state is equal to draw, lose, or win. If it is, then we can actually show the game over. So state draw, does it equal to the game state? If it doesn't, does the game state equal the win state? And if that doesn't, does it finally equal the lose state? And if so, in here, so this is going to occur after we've placed any piece, we've done all our check-in. So every single time we do a piece place, we will check this. So we're going to do UI, show game over. For the layer, just pass in this so you can draw the objects to it, and that's it. If you wanted to do different menus for the different free states, drawing, win and losing with different items, you can easily just extend this, have different methods in there, and just do different if statements for the different states, or do a switch statement. Easily done. So now if we run this, hopefully it all builds and we haven't made any errors. It's looking all good so far. Okay, build is successful. Now it's just running it on our simulator. So now if I play the game, place a piece, place one here, place one here with a dumb move, the AI wins. Okay, it crashed. So sequence, it crashed on a sequence. So where did it crash? If I go to UI, it would have obviously messed up here. That's where it's messed up. It's literally I've created sort of an infinite sequence here. We should be constructing it using the menu action easing. So let's just rerun this. I don't know why I did that. That was just totally a stupid move of mine. So this should be a-okay now. We shouldn't get any sort of problems like we just did. So let's let this run on our simulator. Play. Place a piece here, place one here, place one here. It wins. As you can see, there's a grey sort of background that fades in. You can change the intensity of the grey background, put a different image there. We've got a menu system. If I click home, it takes us back to the home screen. If I click play again, I will beat the AI this time. As you can see, it waits for the animation to appear. I can click the retry button and it retries and I can play again. Okay, so this is the drawing. Just let the user see it for a bit and then we can retry again. At the moment, what if we want to quit from here? What if we want to retry without having to complete this instance of the game? We'll be implementing that in the next video using the pause system that we'll be adding to our UI system. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them on my education platform, sonarlearning.co.uk, or feel free to reach out via Twitter, Facebook, Google+, in the comments, however you feel comfortable. If you want to check out the source code, there will be a GitHub link provided along with the Cocos API guide, so feel free to check that out for all the different animations, transitions, all of that good stuff. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.